and just talk a little bit about Barnabas, a little bit about our community. You know, I said this word earlier tonight, and it's something that I'm just experiencing more and more, the power of this community. You saw it. If you're a guest here, you just witnessed what Barnabas is about. You heard two organizations stand up and present and give opportunities for us to engage, to respond, whether it be a tangible thing or prayer that goes beyond just a prayer. When we ask you to pray, sometimes we just say, yeah, because it's easy. We're not asking you to do that. We're asking you to stand with these partners in prayer and pray for them regularly and earnestly. Don't take that lightly. That's not I'll check that box because it's easy. That should be the most difficult box to check for you. We're a community and we respond. When I looked up the definition of community, one of the definitions is a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. This is exactly what Barnabas is about. A fellowship with others, sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. I thought about different kinds of communities that we see in the Bible. This is one that I love this image of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. They formed this community of probably 1 million plus people. They spent a lot of time in the desert together. They wined together. They celebrated together. They saw God do incredible things. But that was a community of people with common goals. Where did they want to go? They wanted to get to the promised land. We saw Jesus, this image of Jesus and the disciples. I think it comes from The Chosen. But the idea of Jesus and his disciples, and then others that were following, formed a community. And they walked, and they ministered, and they touched people, and they saw God do incredible things, and they shared things, and Jesus challenged them and pushed them and rebuked them and loved them. That's a community. Then it's hard to find a good image of the early church, but the early church, we've all heard about the early church, and the image of this church, they had all these things in common, and they were experiencing stuff together that it was just blowing them away. Community, the power of being a part of a community is so important. I thought about some communities I've been a part of. This was my high school basketball team. Isn't that lovely? Yeah, that's me right there, number 5, right in the middle, and I know you're thinking I have really good hair. But that was my basketball team, and that was a community. My coach was a man that I respected. My teammates, as I looked at this picture, incredible memories of people and the time we spent on the basketball court, competing, doing life, incredible memories and incredibly influential in my life. This is a group of people that Gina and I had the privilege of leading. We were on the mission field in Ecuador for years, and this was a group of people that worked with us, and we did life with this group of people. And I could stare at these pictures and pick out people in this room and tell stories, incredible, great things, incredibly difficult times, but a group of people that we look back at that time and season in our life, and that was just a rich time in our life. The importance of community. The Bible talks about community. This comes out of the early church. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and the signs performed by the apostles. The Bible talks about the idea that all the believers were one in heart and mind. Don't you love that word? That's a community word. We were one. One is an example of what community is all about. We're drawn. I was sharing with someone tonight, when Gina and I came into the Barnabas room, it wasn't here, it was at another venue, we walked in this room and we said, we found our people. People that we can connect with, people that we share values with, people that care about the world the way we do. We found a place, and honestly, we felt like we were living on the moon in Orange County. But we walked through those doors and everything changed. Community. The Bible says this, and let's consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds. How do we spur? That word is a tough word, isn't it? It also could be, how do we push? How do we encourage? How do we prod? Some of us don't like that. But boy, I hope that tonight we're prodded a little bit. We're spurred on towards love and good deeds. For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am. What a promise that he's here with us. And again, we opened our night that way saying, Lord, speak to us clearly. I recently did a wedding, and this is such a great wedding verse, but this is really a verse for us. Two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. The value and the importance of community, right? Other people that walk with us and do life with us. Just as there are many parts to our bodies, and you've heard me talk about this here, just as there are many parts to our bodies, so it is with Christ's body. We are all parts of it, and it takes every one of us to make it complete. For we each have different work to do, so we belong to each other, and each of us needs the others. We belong to each other, and each of us have things that are important. Each of us has gifts and experiences and talents and strengths that we bring to the table. And I want to tell you tonight, we need you. And that's really what this whole little talk is. OC Barnabas Group, we're a community. And we share some things in common. We love Jesus, and we love his world. And we want to bring what he has gifted us with as an offering. And so we come in this room and we hear some organizations present, and we have an opportunity to respond to that. And I want to tell you tonight, community works best when everyone plays their part. And I want to spur you on. Don't be a spectator. It's easy to sit and watch great things happen. And I want to encourage you and challenge you. You can be a part of it. And the way you do that is you respond. I sent out an email to our partners on Monday morning. And I know sometimes you might read it. You might not even read it. That might hurt my feelings, but it doesn't matter. But in that email, we present some opportunities. We're not doing it because you have nothing to do. I know you're all busy. We're doing it because we're asking God to prompt you. And when you see that invitation, we want you to respond to it. We want you to bring what you have to the body. We need you. When you see that Barnabas consult coming up in a couple of weeks, and you're thinking, I don't know about that. Let me tell you, the organization that we're doing this with, Peacemaker, it's a great organization. We're meeting at Saddleback Church. Come be a part of that conversation. When you see the women's event coming up, come be a part of that conversation. We're doing tamales in San Juan. Why would you not want to come and make tamales and see this organization that is transforming a Hispanic community? We're not going because we're like tamales. We're going because that's the language they speak. And we're going to hang out and spend time, and we're going to encourage them. I invite you to respond. We have something for every one of you to do. Some of you tonight, we have about 50 guests here. This might be your first time here. I'm going to invite you to consider joining Barnabas. Join as a partner. You know, it costs about $2,000 a year. Right now, you can join for $1,000 for the rest of the year. Come to the table. Join us. Come to our next two summits. Be a part of the activities I've talked about. We got a bunch of things coming up in the next couple of months. Come and be a part of this community. But more importantly than that, than just coming, I invite you to bring it. Bring what God has gifted you with. Because as a community, we need that. As a community, these organizations that present, you already heard two. You're going to hear two more in a minute that are fabulous. They need you. If you're sitting here saying, I have nothing to offer, you might notice we've changed some of our language. We used to call it connecting marketplace leaders. That's on the back of our book. But you'll see in our language, we say connecting people. I don't care if you're a marketplace leader. I want you to be an obedient follower of Jesus. And you bring what you have to the community, to his kingdom. Bring it. I'd love to have you stand in a minute. We're going to take about a 10-minute break. But I'd love you to have a short conversation before you walk out of the room or move around the room or go visit a table. Tell someone sitting next to you, what's one community that you remember being a part of that was significant? And number two, what's one thing about this Barnabas community that's impacted your life? Just take a minute, share those two things. Then we have about a 10-minute break. We're back in here in exactly 10 minutes. Go.